You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down.
I am so excited to welcome our very first star to the Forefront 5, Nicole Meline. Nicole has been someone that I have absolutely loved for years. I was first introduced to her on my Peloton bike. She was born in California and now lives in New York City. She's a triathlete, a yogi, a fitness guru, and was one of the founding instructors at Peloton. She now writes, has her own podcast, and hosts holistic fitness retreats, which she labels journeys, not trips, in places like Morocco, Bali, Mexico, and Montana. Absolute fabulous events that I must attend post-COVID-19. Nicole, welcome.
Oh, thank you so much, Betsy, and hi to your amazing crew.
Awesome. Well, everyone's so excited to learn a little more about you, but I just wanted to start out, as I was thinking about what we would talk about, I was listening to your podcast while I was running, and it struck me that one of the reasons I love you is really because you're so holistic. You don't see fitness as a workout, but as something that really encompasses everything. And as a dermatologist, that's what my job is. That's what we do. Skin encompasses everything. It's really the window to everything going on inside the body, so many systemic diseases, the one truly holistic organ. And I think this is why I relate to you so much. And I really think my dermatologist colleagues will feel the same. So for our first question, tell me, how did you come about approaching fitness as more than just a 60-minute workout, as really a holistic event?
I love that question. I'm first actually going to riff for a minute on dermatologists.
Please do.
Because I can't help it. Yeah. So I had an amazing dermatologist when I was a teenager. And I'm thinking, I have a couple of thoughts that I feel like your audience, I think you all probably have these thoughts at, at some point in your formation in this career, but because of, acne and hormonal changes and all of it, a lot of teenagers end up going to a dermatologist. I similarly had pretty significant stick acne, when I was a teenager, and I kind of tried everything in terms of skincare, and I couldn't find anything that really worked. And so we ended up going to this dermatologist, and this guy was such a character. He was this older gentleman who really had that, who had the kind of presence of an old world doctor. Like, I think if he could have done house calls, he would have. He was so full of personality, and he took he took what was really kind of an uncomfortable, embarrassing moment, right? I'm coming because I've got acne and I'm a teenager, so I'm kind of awkward anyway. And I so look forward to my appointments because he would take that time, and he would just riff on life. It was like life lessons. He had all this kind of fun. Oh, it was so great. And I just want to kind of encourage your audience to remember, I think you were mentioning in an email that a lot of your colleagues are diagnosing melanomas, which is serious business, obviously, but for those of you especially who work with teenagers, I want to remind you that that's such a formative time, right, in people's lives. But then also when you're working with someone, if they do have a melanoma and they're dealing with a cancer diagnosis, that's another radically transformative moment, right, in someone's life, where all of a sudden they're asking all of the big questions, and the kind of presence that you can offer in that time is so powerful. And I love that you were just, talking about skin as, I lead this program, WAITI, which is a nutritional reset, essentially. And one of the participants in the program this last week actually asked me, well, what about skincare? Like, we're talking so much about food. Do you have any thoughts on, kind of what we're putting on our skin? And I loved the question, because it was this acknowledgement that our skin's the largest organ of our body, right? It's this interface with the world. So I think just to encourage your audience today, I know, my goodness, it is such, I mean, we hear this phrase over and over that this is extraordinary or unprecedented this time. And because those are the only words we can use, right? We're all stunned by it. But just to remind you all that you're doing work that is radically integral to people's well-being. And I think that in all cases, anyone who chooses medicine, and especially these days with the insurance situation being what it is choosing it out of a sense of calling to healing. And I just today want to remind you, that you are healers and you serve that role in ways that you might not even know or might need to be reminded of.
Nicole, that truly made my heart smile. Thank you for not only your personal story, but I think everybody does need encouragement. And to hear it from someone other than me or, a fellow dermatologist, it means the world. So thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think to answer your question about my philosophy of fitness, I mean, it's similar, and you have such amazing, you sent me some amazing questions before our interview. And in one of them, I was like, oh, you've done your research. I was pre-med I was pre-med in college and spent several years trying to get into medical school. And so I've always had that root, I think, A, a fascination with the body, and B, a root identity as a healer. And it's been the struggle and blessing of my life that in most everything that I've done, I haven't fit into the kind of conventional mold of it in one way or another. And so that's always uncomfortable at first. And then eventually I realized, oh, that's because I can reimagine this thing. I can do this in a different way. And so what I love that you use the phrase movement as medicine. And that's really first of all, what I have experienced movement to be in my own life. And it's very much how I see the work that I do is leading people into this daily practice of, in the same way that we're taking our vitamins, in the same way we're nourishing ourselves, and know that we need that, daily practices of self-care. It actually doesn't happen on its own. It goes in the other direction on its own. I think very much about, my work as really establishing these practices of empowerment and energy. So much less about weight loss, muscle building, that all happens along the way. But at least for me in my experience, I have my best thoughts in sweat. I have my best thoughts through sweat, right? I have my best thoughts when I am when I'm working out powerfully, when I'm experiencing my body as a source of power. Suddenly I see the world in a new way. I see my potential, I see my work, I have all kinds of creative ideas from that place of empowerment. So that's actually why I work out every day. I work out every day to remind myself that I am powerful, that I am full of energy, and I am able to recharge, my energy. And because otherwise I'm going to be making decisions and choices and creating in this world, in a much smaller way. So that's really the movement practice that I lead. And aside from indoor cycling, it's called Alter. And it's really, it's a daily practice of kind of in the same way that we need to metabolize the food that we ingest every day. We got to metabolize life. We got to metabolize our emotional and psychological state, all of the kind of micro traumas and all of the anxiety and stress we store in our body. And if we don't have a practice first of integrating that, of really understanding what's up with our hearts, with our minds on a daily basis, and then also just noticing, like, where am I storing that in my body? How do I need to release with that, dance with that, wrestle with that, and breathe through that, and again, remember ourselves as strong and energized.
I love that. And, I relate to that. We have biannual retreats where we all get together, and I usually come up with a theme of our retreats. And I tell you what, when I look back at my retreats, I think that every idea came during a run or a HIIT workout or something. And so I don't know if it's the adrenaline surge or the coffee I just had pre-workout, but there is something so incredible that happens when you sweat. So I love that. I love that. So let's talk a little bit about your Envision Planner. And I like this question because of COVID-19. So all of the listeners should check this out. It's beautiful. And she's created this Envision Planner. And you talk about planning for a 3 month from now you. So look like what you want to look like in 3 months and plan for that. And as dermatologists, we're huge planners. We're huge, highly driven planners. We plan our vacation schedules. We plan our weekends. We plan our finances. And then everything just got totally turned on its head with COVID-19. We have these lives, these homeschooling lives, these spouses working from home lives. It's crazy. So what is your approach and advice when responsible planning is totally turned on its head, whether it be financially, spiritually, emotionally, by something totally outside our control?
It's such a good question. So I created the Envision Planner, kind of like I said, everything that I've ever done has been looking at something, feeling like the version that would, really kind of serve my quirks so it isn't available. And so, create what you wish existed is essentially my mantra. And so I think that, and especially having gone through a really rigorous undergraduate program of science study, and then I went on to do degrees in philosophy and theology, and was very, really working through things from this very planned, very structured mentality that that I would define as hustle. I would kind of categorize it in that way, a sense of I got to plan like it all depends on me, right? I got to work like it all depends on me, and that totally has its place. And it is also exhausting to kind of live in this, right? To be living in this way, in this mentality that it all depends on you. And so if you're not hustling hard enough, somebody else is, and you're not getting everything that you can get. And so that's really kind of a subtext. That's the narrative behind so many organizations that, we're all a part of. And my own, I've had the kind of gifts of the catastrophic gifts of different injuries, or just different ways that my life has swerved in unexpected ways that I've had my life kind of upended a few times. And I lovingly call those things, swerves now. And so I've, through that realized I've got to learn this art of flow. I've got to learn this art of dancing with the unexpected, because if I'm so rigid about my goals, but I don't know how to dance with the unexpected, I'm not only am I not going to accomplish much of what I want to accomplish, but I'm also just going to be really unhappy, a lot of the way. And, for me, this question I'm always curious, how is spirit in on this? In whatever way that you define that or name that or experience that. And I want to, as I'm kind of planning my life and envisioning my life, yes, there's absolutely place for very clear hustle, goal-driven work, but also I don't just want to work like it all depends on me. I want to work in collaboration with others. I want to work in collaboration with the unexpected swerves of life, and I want to work in collaboration with spirit. So this, I think of my kind of, I guess, life philosophy, or let's call it productivity philosophy, as this dance between hustle and flow. So when I've always kind of loved, I've been like a to-do list maker my whole life, and I've always loved planners and the idea of them. And I found so many of them, again, the subtext was coming from this place of the hustler's mindset. So I want, as I just kind of sketched out, what would the flow of a day look like? What would my kind of categories of measuring my day be if I'm balancing between hustle and flow? And I'm maybe not measuring my life entirely by a productivity metric or a financial metric, but I'm also bringing in, like, for me, the most important metric is joy. The most important metric is like where in the course of my day was there some luminosity, like where was there some magic, and am I even living in a way that is open and attentive to that? So that's where the flow of the Envision Planner came from, and it has its beginning about, I think there's about 12 different categories, kind of major categories to think about your life and your goals. So there's definitely space for becoming really intentional, about what you want to create financially, what you want to create in terms of your relationships, in terms of adventures, like what adventures do you want to go on this year? How are you envisioning your body, your kind of goals in relationship to physical training and all of that. But I think so then we get, then we ask the juicy question of, yeah, but what about when the world gets turned upside down, So one of the, on the daily pages of the Envision Planner, the date, you could do a daily page in 2 minutes. It's not like a big thing. But you begin the day with gratitude, right? So you begin the day with just kind of washing your mind and your heart and your body, because we know it changes the chemistry of our body, with just listing, a couple of things that you're grateful for. And man, whenever I do that, like it's truly revolutionary to whatever state of mind that I'm in. And this is, I feel like is a really key tool that I've been using in my own kind of insomnia battles in this whole COVID world. I feel like it's so hard at night to kind of turn, when my head hits the pillow, that's where all the anxiety and worries about this new world that we're living in start to surface. There's the last section of the daily pages on the planner is called alter, which is a word that means a lot to me, both alter with an E and alter with an A, right? Because I think that there's this beautiful kind of interplay between the two. So, but alter with an A being what do I need to leave on the altar today? Like, what are the, what's really disturbing me? What am I worried about? What am I anxious over? And this is so simple, but this is a tool that I just want to share with this audience that, today, before you go to bed, first of all, if you could take 2 minutes to just sit down somewhere and close your eyes, and whatever form of meditation works for you, even if it's just simply noticing your breath and sitting in gratitude and noticing whatever it is that actually is causing you anxiety. What are those kind of background thought loops that you've had on all day? If you can write those down on a piece of paper, and in writing that down, really separate yourself from it. Like, there's something to that. When you write it down, it's suddenly, you've put it on paper, you've separated it from yourself. And just doing that has actually been really powerful in terms of my own, ability to rest. And just, I think of it as kind of like God's inbox. I'm like, okay, here, you take this. Like, I'm delegating. I don't know what my financial, I don't know what my business pivot plan is, or what my financial, situation in terms of COVID, whatever it is that's really anxiety producing, actually just, to write those things down at the end of the day and to really leave them on the altar. So those are some Envision Planner tools that I hopefully are of service and passing along.
Oh my gosh, that was so awesome. As you were talking about that, like, I literally took a deep breath. It made me, when you said leaving things on the altar, it clicked with me because, not only are we faced as forefront dermatologists with the finances and the kids and, our spouses, but like, you've got that biopsy on the kid you had to do today, and you're worried about what the results were, or, did you do the right thing for the sick person? And so I love the thought of checklists and writing and leaving on the ALTAR. I love that. You're so good with words too. I also love thinking about dancing with the unexpected. And I would say that our group is dancing with COVID-19. We are. We've gone out there and made the best of it. And I know that your words of encouragement are really going to resound with these folks. So let's talk about how you say that your imagination can create a way out. I loved that comment. And it spoke to me once again, as we don our masks and we take care of our patients, it feels suffocating, not only physically with an N95 mask on, but just emotionally. So how do you apply this quote, your imagination can create a way out, to healthcare workers in this situation?
That's a good question. I want to challenge you to proceed as though you are meant to be here right now. So the worst that can happen, you know, when we take this kind of mentality that you might think of as kind of pie in the sky or whatever, you know, a little too woo-woo, is the worst that can happen is is that you're coming at any encounters expecting the best, right? So there's a couple principles, I think, for this audience that, you know, these are definitely core to how I try to live and how I think about managing my energy as a caregiver, right? As a healer in whatever capacity. First of all, the world does not need you 100% of the time. As we're very aware of it, as healers in this current state right now, there is infinite need right now. We are finite beings. And it's so simple to recognize that incongruity, but it's so important. So I cannot serve everyone. I can't, if I work 24 hours a day, I am not going to meet the needs of everyone whose needs I want to meet, right? My family, patients, all of it. So just recognizing that, like just that reminder, the world does not need you 100% of the time. The world needs you 100% alive, 100% vibrant, 100% attentive. So for me to be in that state takes some pretty radical self-care, you know, takes some commitments to how much sleep I'm getting, how I'm nourishing myself, how I'm moving my body, how I'm refilling with joy, you know, in different ways. So that feels pretty central. And this idea of this challenge, maybe I'll call it, to proceed as though you are meant for this here and now. When I step into that certainty, when I experiment with it, right, I find it to be true. All of a sudden, I'm attentive to, if you proceeded as though all of your patient encounters on a given day are exactly the patient encounters that you are meant for, that you have the tools for, that is going to be an equal gift on either side, right? Like you have something for these patients and they have something for you. They have something for your spirit, for your soul, whatever it is. I think you'll be amazed at what, you know, at how much richer all of your interactions become. And it also, you know, I think that keeping those two principles in mind, okay, I want to come into these encounters with that kind of energy, right? But also that means I'm going to need to be energized. I'm going to need to be attentive to my self-care. So it might mean that you take a second look at your schedule and you take a second look at how, are you allowing yourself the time to constantly recharge, knowing that we need that, right? To be able to be present in that kind of a way.
I love that. And, you know, not too long ago, I got into a little bit of a doldrums of just in clinic, seeing patient after patient. You know, sometimes I see 55 patients in a day. And it became a little like bit of a burnout because it's just, you know, same thing, Groundhog Day. And a little bit of what you just said, I started with each patient. I thought, man, there's some really interesting people that I see every day. And I'm just going in there and diagnosing their skin disease, getting them treated and getting out. Maybe I should make it interesting for me too. And so I started approaching every patient, really trying to look in each patient's eyes and souls and see them as people along with their disease. I mean, you have to continue treating them, but really appreciating them, maybe learning something about them. And it made my clinic so enriching and so inspiring for me. And I found that I'm inspired by so many of my patients. And so I think that resounds with me, making sure that your patients are also giving something back to you, not only the gratification of healing and helping them, but, make it an interesting, enriching day for you. I love that. So,
yes, I couldn't agree more.
Okay. You're a healer like us, as we've talked about. Would you be so kind to close us with the forefront 5 takeaways for us on how to care for ourselves as we care for others? 5 points on how we heal others as well as ourselves.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so I'm gonna make point number 1 just a restatement of this principle, which has been so central to me, which is that my people need me 100% on, alive. Vibrant is the word I like to keep coming back to. So, to make that shift when you're looking at your to-do list, and first of all, your people want to be your allies in your wellness. So all of the people who, when you think about everyone in your life who needs something from you, your patients, your office staff, your family, your kids, etc., they're on your team. Like, they want you 100% vibrant too. And I think I know I'm probably talking to a lot of, go-getter type A's. I feel like that's, we're trained in that to go through something like medical school. We're usually used to kind of carrying a lot of things by ourselves, but it's not just, not just does it take burden off of our own shoulders, but it's actually a gift to our people when we invite them along on our journey of becoming what our heart is demanding, right? So in the ways that you need some more wellness, so I'll just break this down. Let's say you're feeling overwhelmed by also having, we all have to cook all the meals now, right? We're doing probably way more cooking than we want to be doing. If you're overwhelmed by having to make like 5 meals, 5 dinners a week for your kids, actually communicating, you know what, you guys, Mama's really tired and I need some help with dinners. So I'm wondering if you can help me with 3 of the dinners this week. Now, you're going to give them the gift of being able to carry that for you, like the gift of being able to bless you in that, right? So just a reminder that your people actually want to be your allies in your own health, that we don't have to be the superheroes, that are carrying absolutely everything, that there's all these opportunities for joy when we make all of our wellness a group effort. So what would it take for you to be 100% energy, 100% vibrant? What would have to change? Who could you lean on, and how could you invite them into that project? So that was a big first point. Point 2 is meditate. Whatever shape that takes for you, if that's a walking, meditation for 5 minutes in the morning outside, if it's just sitting, meditation is a practice. So we all do it fumblingly. But to give your mind a moment to integrate, to process, just like we do digestively with our food, just like we do hopefully with our movement practices of our body, to give yourself that time to integrate what's going on, and to signal to your body that you're not in a constant time of fight or flight, right? You're not in a constant time of stress. You're at least choosing one moment of the day, one time of the day where you're deregulating and you're sending all of those signals to your body that it is safe, that it is held, that it is grateful for whatever. Number 3 is, y'all know this, but we also need to be reminded to drink half your body weight in ounces of water. So just drink more water than you think you need to be drinking.
This is my biggest weakness. This is my biggest weakness.
Yes. Yeah, and alcohol sales have all gone through the window. Up through the roof this whole crazy season. So if you're struggling with that, you're not alone. But let's swap it out for some kombucha a few nights a week, right? So just how can you be hydrating? Yes. Number 4, move with joy once a day. Move with joy. Move with joy into strength. My favorite version of that is a dance party. I lead this practice called Alter that integrates dance into it. But, turn on your favorite song for 5 minutes a day and just let it out. Maybe that's a run, maybe whatever movement practice it is for you, but really commit to that. Because it's not just about your own physical health, but it's also, again, our body is storing all the stuff, so we need to let it out. And lastly, eat more plants. Can you bring in a green smoothie, a couple days a week instead of whatever? These are kind of like simple building blocks, but I feel like we always need to be reminded of them, right?
Absolutely. And I love actionable items. Anyone who knows me, we can talk about things, but then my comment always is, okay, how are we going to do this? And all 5 of those are very actionable, which I love. So, Nicole, this has been so amazing. I just want to say, if a phone call is this, just soul soothing for me, I can't imagine your retreats. If folks want to learn more about you, your retreats, your planner, your podcast, everything you seem to fit in a day, where should they go?
So my home base online is NicoleMeline.com, NicoleMeline. I'm also at Nicole Meline on Instagram and on Facebook. What my kind of big project during this quarantine has been really ramping up the at-home workouts that I film, both indoor cycling and Alter practice. So that's you can get to all of it through my website, but that is at altertogether.NicoleMeline.com. And I have a free trial on that. So if you want to just, try out one of these soulful movement practices, you are so invited to. And then lastly, I have a podcast called Alter. And I alternate between episodes that explore different topics in wellness. And also meditation. So every other episode is a meditation, and the meditations are all under 10 minutes. Some of them are even less than 5. So if you don't have a meditation practice, or if that's something, that you would love some guidance in, you might really love those. And you know what? Listening and just breathing deeply on your way to work counts.
Awesome. Well, I am so excited for more people to get to know you, and I'm just so grateful that you would spend the time to talk to us and to inspire and to heal. So from us to you, thank you so much for being a guest on the Forefront 5.
That's a pleasure. I'm thinking of it as kind of like a thank you gift to good old Dr. Gostanian, who was my dermatologist back in the day, who doubled as my life coach, right? So let's not forget the power of what it means to stand in that place of a healer.
I love that. Thank you, Nicole. God bless you. Stay safe and keep inspiring, okay?
Oh, thank you so much. Heart word, y'all.
Well, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down. No, I'll stand my ground. I won't be turned around. And I keep this world from dragging me down. Gonna stand my ground, and I won't back down. I I got just one life.
In a world that keeps on pushing me around, well, I'll stand my ground.
And I won't back down.
Hey, baby, oh, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, I will stand my ground, and I won't back down.
Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, I will stand my ground, and I won't back down. No, I won't back down. No, we won't back down.